On February 14, 2014, 5 experienced Finnish cave divers embarked on what was meant to be the ultimate test of skill and camaraderie, the challenge to traverse one of Norway's most treacherous underwater systems, Plura Cave. Today, we dive deep into the incredible, and heartbreaking, story of a dive that turned into a nightmare. Stay with us as we chronicle each twist and turn of a tragedy that even the bravest would find hard to imagine. 5 seasoned Finnish divers, Patrick Ronqvist, Jari Hutarinen, Vesa Rantanen, Jari Uzumaki, and Kai Konkanen, had prepared for what they believed was a routine 5-hour dive through the icy depths of Norway's Plura Cave. Armed with underwater scooters, countless diving tanks, and the best gear available, their objective was clear: traverse from a challenging pond entrance to the cavernous Steinugaflaget section deep on the other end of the cave. With backgrounds that included countless challenging dives, explorations of the Ojamo mine and even a full traverse of the cave system in reverse, the group thought they knew what to expect. Yet, every diver knows that the deeper you go, the greater the risks: hypothermia, decompression sickness, and the possibility of a fatal equipment malfunction always hang over your head. On that fateful day, the team split into 2 groups. Patrick led the way with Jari Hutarinen trailing closely behind. Their route took them through a narrow, ice-cold passage that plunged to depths where the water temperature hovered around 35 degrees Fahrenheit. The divers relied on guidelines, tethered lifelines they had placed during prior expeditions, to navigate a maze of sharp rocks and unexpected twists. As darkness enveloped the cave and the water pressure mounted, the challenge became not just one of physical endurance, but of razor-sharp focus and unwavering calm. Deep inside Plura, around 367 feet below ground, an unimaginable horror struck. In the darkest recesses of the underwater labyrinth, Jari Hutarinen became trapped in the guideline. His frantic signals of distress, captured by a shaking beam of light, sent a chill down Patrick's spine. Panicking and overwhelmed by the cold and the crushing pressure of the situation, Jari's breathing grew rapid. The specialized rebreather gear they relied on was no match for the sudden surge in carbon dioxide, a condition known as hypercapnia. In that fatal moment, when every second counted, Jari tragically lost control. Patrick desperately switched the oxygen supply to help, but the damage was done. As the first group struggled with the devastating loss, the delay had consequences. The remaining divers, unaware of the extent of the catastrophe, faced their own set of harrowing choices. One of the divers in the second group, distraught by the sight of a dead friend, succumbed to panic, briefly losing consciousness. These moments of terror and shock compounded the gravity of the situation. Every mistake underwater adds up. With the weight of decompression obligations looming, the divers were forced to decide between saving lives and suffering potentially lethal outcomes from a rushed descent. Time became an enemy. Patrick, already 360 feet deep for over 20 minutes, knew that every extra moment underwater meant additional decompression stops, a prolonged exposure to a deadly cocktail of nitrogen and the risk of the bends, a phenomenon where nitrogen bubbles can rupture blood vessels. With oxygen tanks running low, he was forced into a heart-pounding decision: surface quickly and risk further injury, or follow protocol and potentially doom everyone to slow death. In the end, necessity prevailed. With his computer warning lights screaming, Patrick surfaced with barely 20 feet to spare from safety. Although he outran the prescribed decompression stops, the cost was measured in decompression sickness and a lingering psychological toll, a nightmare he would carry forever. Even more controversial was what came next. With the official authorities deeming the cave too dangerous for a full recovery operation, the bodies were slated to remain deep within the cave's labyrinthine passages. But for the surviving divers, the grief was too raw and the promise to a fallen friend too sacred to let go. Late at night, under the cover of darkness, an illegal rescue mission was formed. 17 Finns and 10 Norwegians, joined by the famed British rescue diver Rick Stanton and his team, poured their hearts into a daring operation meant to reclaim the lives lost. They built underwater habitats, mapped new decompression stops with 50 spare cylinders arranged along the way, and risked everything to bring closure to the families of the deceased. Their actions would soon blur the lines between heroism and breaking the law. The dive, which was originally planned as a 5-hour journey, transformed into an 11-hour ordeal, a mix of technical challenges, human frailty, and gut-wrenching loss. The bodies were eventually recovered, but not without immense risk and heartache. When the authorities learned of the unsanctioned mission, the surviving divers found themselves entangled in legal battles. Remarkably, after a 6-month investigation, no criminal charges were laid. In recognition of his bravery and determination, Patrick was awarded a Medal of Honor. The cave was reopened to the public just days after the rescue, yet the memory of that fateful dive remains a stark reminder of the razor-thin line between adventure and tragedy. What lessons can we learn from the Plura Cave tragedy? First, never underestimate the environment. Cave diving is among the most dangerous of all activities. It demands meticulous planning, respect for the natural conditions, and, above all, absolute calm. Ensure you have at least 2/3 of your air supply reserved for a safe return, always use a continuous guideline, and dive with a well-coordinated team. While the heroics of the rescue mission remind us of the unbreakable bonds between comrades, they also serve as a somber warning. No dive is worth risking your life over, and sometimes, even the best plans can be thwarted by nature. Today's story is not just an account of an illegal rescue, it is a lesson in humility, respect, and the heavy price of human error.